Have you ever felt trapped in a relationship, a prisoner of your own emotions, bound to someone who simultaneously elevates you and tears you down? A connection that defies logic, fueled by intense highs and devastating lows? Perhaps you've questioned your sanity, wondering how you could possibly stay tethered to a person who causes you so much pain. You're not alone. What if I told you there's a hidden architecture to these destructive bonds, a subtle manipulation of the human psyche that operates in the shadows? We're not talking about simple incompatibility or the occasional argument. We're delving into the murky depths of trauma bonds, insidious connections forged through cycles of abuse, manipulation, and intermittent reinforcement. Think of it as a carefully constructed cage, built brick by brick with fragments of affection, promises, and moments of genuine connection, all strategically placed to keep you yearning for more. But between those moments of light lie the shadows, the gaslighting, the belittling, the unpredictable outbursts that leave you constantly walking on eggshells. These aren't accidents. They are calculated maneuvers, often unconsciously employed, to maintain control and dominance. The puppeteer pulls the strings, and you, the marionette, dance to their tune, desperately seeking the next crumb of validation. Have you ever noticed how these relationships often start with an intoxicating intensity? A whirlwind romance, a feeling of being swept off your feet, as if you've finally found your soulmate. This initial rush is no accident. It's a deliberate tactic, known as love bombing, designed to overwhelm your senses and bypass your rational defenses. You're flooded with affection, attention, and promises of a future that seems too good to be true. And perhaps, deep down, a part of you knows it is. But the allure is too strong, the hope too tempting to resist. But then, subtly, almost imperceptibly, the cracks begin to appear. The compliments become fewer, replaced by criticisms. The attentiveness fades into neglect. The promises remain unfulfilled. You find yourself questioning your own perceptions, wondering if you're being too sensitive, too demanding. This is the beginning of the erosion of your self-worth, the chipping away at your sense of reality. You start to doubt yourself, to believe that you're somehow responsible for the shift in their behavior. And in that moment of self-doubt, the trauma bond begins to tighten its grip. What if the seemingly random acts of kindness, the fleeting moments of tenderness, are actually the most potent tools of manipulation? These intermittent rewards create a powerful addiction, a desperate craving for the validation that once flowed so freely. You become conditioned to tolerate the abuse, clinging to the hope that the good person will return, the one who showered you with love and affection in the beginning. You're trapped in a cycle of seeking approval, constantly trying to earn their love, even when it comes at the expense of your own well-being. Are you beginning to see the insidious nature of this game? We're going to explore the dark psychology behind these trauma bonds, unraveling the hidden mechanisms that keep you trapped in these destructive cycles. We'll delve into the depths of the unconscious mind, examining the archetypes and shadow selves that play out these toxic dramas. Prepare to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself and the dynamics of your relationships. But know this, understanding is the first step towards freedom. By shining a light on these dark patterns, you can begin to break free from the chains of the past and reclaim your power. Are you ready to embark on this journey into the shadows? Let's now dissect the emotional architecture of these bonds, moving beyond surface-level explanations. Central to understanding trauma bonds is the concept of cognitive dissonance. It's that agonizing mental conflict that arises when holding contradictory beliefs or values. In the context of a trauma bond, the dissonance stems from loving someone who hurts you. To resolve this conflict, the mind often resorts to distorting reality, minimizing the abuse, or blaming oneself. "They wouldn't have yelled if I hadn't," becomes a common refrain, a desperate attempt to reconcile the irreconcilable. This process is further fueled by a phenomenon known as identification with the aggressor, a psychological defense mechanism where the victim unconsciously adopts the behaviors and beliefs of their abuser. This isn't about condoning the abuse, it's about survival. By identifying with the aggressor, the victim gains a sense of control, a distorted belief that they can anticipate and prevent further harm. Furthermore, consider the role of attachment styles in predisposing individuals to trauma bonds. Those with anxious, preoccupied attachment styles, characterized by a deep-seated fear of abandonment and a constant need for validation, are particularly vulnerable. Their intense desire for connection can blind them to red flags and make them more willing to tolerate mistreatment in order to maintain the relationship. Conversely, individuals with dismissive avoidant attachment styles, who often struggle with intimacy and emotional expression, may unconsciously create trauma bonds as a way to keep partners at a distance. The cycle of conflict and reconciliation allows them to experience a fleeting sense of connection without the vulnerability of true intimacy. How might your own attachment style be unconsciously shaping your relationship choices and experiences? Adding another layer to this intricate web is the element of learned helplessness. After repeated exposure to uncontrollable and unpredictable stressors, individuals may develop a sense of powerlessness, believing that their actions have no impact on their circumstances. This can lead to a state of resignation, where the victim feels trapped and unable to escape the abusive relationship. They may stop trying to assert their needs or set boundaries, convinced that it's futile. The abuser, consciously or unconsciously, reinforces this sense of helplessness by creating a climate of fear and unpredictability. Building on this, however, recognize the impact of societal conditioning. Many individuals, particularly women, are socialized to prioritize the needs of others and to suppress their own emotions. This can make it difficult to recognize and challenge abusive behavior, as it goes against deeply ingrained cultural norms. The pressure to be nice, forgiving, and understanding can silence the inner voice that screams for help. Now, contemplate how these societal expectations have potentially influenced your own ability to assert your boundaries and prioritize your well-being in relationships. Moreover, the intermittent reinforcement schedule, as previously mentioned, operates much like a slot machine. The unpredictable nature of the rewards, the moments of affection, the acts of kindness, creates a powerful addiction. The victim becomes fixated on chasing these rewards, tolerating increasing levels of abuse in the hope of hitting the jackpot. This is not love. It's a carefully engineered manipulation of the reward system in the brain. The scarcity of affection makes it all the more valuable, creating a distorted sense of worth. Conversely, understand that the abuser is not necessarily a conscious mastermind. Often, they are themselves acting out unconscious patterns, repeating cycles of abuse that they have witnessed or experienced in their own lives. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it does offer a more nuanced understanding of the dynamics at play. The abuser may be driven by deep-seated insecurities, fears of abandonment, or unresolved trauma. Their manipulative tactics are often a desperate attempt to maintain control and avoid facing their own inner demons. What if both individuals in the relationship are trapped in a cycle of unconscious patterns, perpetuating harm without fully understanding the consequences? Reflecting on this journey so far, a complex tapestry of intertwined threads begins to emerge, revealing the subtle yet powerful undercurrents shaping our relational experiences. It's as if we've been navigating a labyrinthine garden, each path leading to a deeper understanding of the intricate dynamics at play within these shadowed connections. The initial allure, the subtle erosion of self, the insidious dance of control, all coalesce into a portrait of something far more profound than mere incompatibility. As we've peeled back the layers, it becomes apparent that these trauma bonds aren't simply isolated incidents, but rather manifestations of deeply ingrained patterns, echoing through generations and resonating within the chambers of the unconscious mind. They serve as stark reminders of our inherent vulnerability, our longing for connection, and the lengths to which we might go to avoid the pain of abandonment. Drawing these strands together, we see the potential for a transformative shift in perspective. It's about moving beyond blame and judgment, both of oneself and the other, and embracing a more compassionate understanding of the underlying forces at work. Recognizing the unconscious drives, the attachment wounds, and the societal conditioning that contribute to these destructive cycles allows us to approach these situations with greater clarity and intention. In light of these insights, the path forward becomes clearer, though not necessarily easier. It requires a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, to challenge deeply held beliefs, and to embark on a journey of self-discovery. It demands that we cultivate a stronger sense of self-worth, learn to set healthy boundaries, and prioritize our own emotional well-being above the fleeting validation of others. Imagine, if you will, a ship caught in a turbulent storm. The waves crash against the hull, threatening to capsize the vessel. But instead of succumbing to the chaos, the captain calmly assesses the situation, adjusts the sails, and navigates the ship towards calmer waters. Similarly, by understanding the dynamics of trauma bonds, we can equip ourselves with the tools and knowledge necessary to weather the storm and chart a course towards healthier, more fulfilling relationships. As we pivot towards the final reflection, consider how these insights resonate within your own life. Have you recognized any of these patterns in your past or present relationships? Are you willing to embrace the challenge of breaking free from these destructive cycles? The power to heal lies within you. Therefore, it is crucial to note how the very structure of these bonds, the highs and lows, the push and pull, mirrors a distorted quest for wholeness. As if, by attaching to someone who embodies both light and shadow, we unconsciously seek to integrate the fragmented parts of ourselves. But true integration can only occur from within. And so, as we approach the culmination of this exploration, remember that the journey of self-discovery is an ongoing process. It requires patience, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to your own well-being. The answers you seek are not to be found in external validation, but rather in the depths of your own heart. Having journeyed through the shadowy corridors of trauma bonds, we arrive not at a simple destination, but a threshold. This threshold marks the beginning of a new understanding, a deeper commitment to self-awareness, and a courageous step towards reclaiming the narrative of your life. It's about recognizing that the tendrils of these bonds, though deeply rooted, do not define you. They are echoes of past experiences, reverberations of unmet needs, whispers of a wounded self seeking solace in distorted reflections. The core message emerging from this exploration is not merely about identifying the manipulative tactics or dissecting the psychological mechanisms at play. It transcends the realm of intellectual understanding and penetrates the very heart of human connection. It's about recognizing the inherent worthiness within you, the unwavering right to be treated with respect, dignity, and unconditional love. It's about severing the ties that bind you to those who diminish your light and embracing relationships that nurture your soul. Consider this: trauma bonds are not solely about the external dynamic between two individuals. They are also a reflection of the internal relationship you have with yourself. The willingness to tolerate abuse, the tendency to prioritize the needs of others, the difficulty in setting boundaries. These are all symptoms of a deeper wound, a lack of self-love that makes you vulnerable to exploitation. Healing, therefore, begins with cultivating a profound sense of self-compassion, accepting your imperfections, and recognizing your inherent value. Moreover, trauma bonds often serve as a distorted mirror, reflecting back to us the unacknowledged aspects of our own shadow selves. The qualities we despise in our abusers may, in fact, be reflections of traits we disown within ourselves. Embracing these shadow aspects, the anger, the vulnerability, the need for control, allows us to integrate them into our conscious awareness, diminishing their power to influence our relationships. It's about transforming the darkness within, rather than projecting it onto others. The implication of this understanding extends far beyond the realm of romantic relationships. Trauma bonds can manifest in families, friendships, and even professional settings. Recognizing the underlying dynamics allows us to navigate these relationships with greater awareness and intention, setting healthy boundaries and refusing to participate in cycles of abuse. It's about creating a ripple effect of healing, transforming not only our own lives but also the lives of those around us. And so, as we stand at this threshold, armed with newfound knowledge and a deeper understanding of ourselves, remember that the journey of healing is not a linear one. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, and temptations to return to familiar patterns. But with each step forward, you grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable of creating the life you deserve. The true practice begins now, in the quiet moments of self-reflection, in the courageous acts of setting boundaries, and in the unwavering commitment to self-love. May you walk forward with grace, compassion, and an unyielding belief in your own worthiness. For within the depths of your being lies a radiant light, waiting to be unleashed. And as the stars whisper secrets to the night, so too does your soul hold the key to your liberation. Listen closely, for the answer lies within the echoes of your heart.